Hi guys, I'm Justine McInerney. I'm 27, I'm a comedian, I'm an actress, I'm a singer, I'm gay as hell. This is Gender Talks. Let's talk gender identity.
When I hear the word transgender, for me it's like expressing yourself like for who you are and not letting anyone bring you down.
Born in the wrong body in this lifetime, and a soul lesson to overcome.
First words I think about when I think transgender is someone that can go between either or and has to find alignment.
I think it's more or less someone who's born thinking they should be the opposite sex, whether it's just a male thinking they feel more comfortable as a female or female feeling more comfortable as a male. That's sort of the sort of thing that comes to mind when I think about, yeah.
So transgender identity is where someone's sense of how they identify in terms of their gender and or as well how they express themselves in terms of their gender differs to what's expected given how they were recorded at birth based on their body. To use myself as a guinea pig to demonstrate that, so I was born with a male body at birth. People expected I would identify as male and behave in masculine ways, but I realised to be myself I needed to identify as female and probably am more feminine than masculine.
I associated the word transgender with transgender people like Bruce Jenner, Adeline Fox and Cassidy Lynn, because they were transgender people and they're amazing.
So where did you find these people?
I found them on YouTube and on Keeping Up with the Kardashians, so that's good.
Miriam, that was a reality TV show, I think reality TV show star in Brazil, and then she moved over to Big Brother in Australia, as well as the Wachowski siblings, which is the director of The Matrix and movies like V for Vendetta. Those are sort of some people that come to mind, as well as Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. Whether it's cross-dressing or transgender, it's like the sort of earliest exposure I had to it as a kid, yeah.
Growing up, I felt as if the media played a big role in what I thought about transgender. Getting information from people like Oprah or doing my own research or what was aired on TV. Like, I remember growing up and learning about Sonny and Cher's child who was born biologically a girl and now is a legal male. So that played a big influence, and that was one image.
Okay, transgender. Bruce Jenner, obvious reasons, he's just come out as being a woman. It's really prevalent in the media, so it's a really easy one. Second one is Jamie Lee Curtis, because when I was a kid in primary school, everyone in biology was like, oh, she's got X chromosomes and Y chromosomes and she's both, and she's got a dick and she's got flaps, and Arnold Schwarzenegger kisses her, and that was confusing. And the third one, transgender, far out. Oh, Priscilla, like Queen of the Desert, just because that was like my first kind of exposure, I guess, which is kind of weird. So I would have been 12, my first kind of exposure to cross-dressing or anything remotely like that. So, God, we didn't really learn earlier, did we? Guess that's what this is about.
I think that for a long time our views on body, identity and expression were very deeply rooted in the so-called binary, that there were only two boxes of 3.5 billion people each, but the thing is that just doesn't fit. And I like to think that there's either 7 billion boxes. It would be nicer if there was one box of 7 billion people, and gradually we have challenged those views and just said, well, they don't fit everyone. It's not going to make everyone happy and fit in with their soul. And people have had to push and push for a long time, going back, say, in the Australian context to the 1970s with the well-known personality Carlotta, for example. And it's only in the last 3 years, probably due to those people who have pushed, but also internet and social media have to have played a huge part in connecting people, raising awareness, and we did reach that so-called tipping point a few years ago that was fantastic. And so now there is more communication, more understanding, and that we are just people, who as one part of ourselves happen to experience issues of gender identity.
Been to Thailand, I've been to Bali, I've seen your man ladies and your lady boys and all of that overseas travelling, but As far as like an intimate experience, I haven't been with anybody that's had a dick vagina or a vagina dick. I don't know what do you call it? Like a swap. Like I haven't been with anyone who's going through the process. Or anything like that. I brought it up with my partner the other day because we just got engaged, right? So she's 23, I'm 27, so we're young but we're old souls, so we're early marriage, right? And I said to her, do not put it past me when I'm like 50, I might want to get a dick. Like I'm just kind of a person that tries everything and has to experience my life. Like if I judge anything, I'll go and try it. Like I judged stripping last year, so I went and did 3 nights, took my clothes off, wrote a comedy show about it. So it's like I have to go into everything until I die. I want to understand. So I have no judgment, and it's kind of like the further you go in your, I guess, your soul, or I always say my soul development, the more you learn about yourself, the bigger the spiritual journey, the more understanding you have of everyone being as one and the earth and the human all being the same. It doesn't really make a difference if someone has a dick or a vag or wants to be a girl or a guy. Everyone comes from source, comes from love, and when you've kind of experienced, I guess, other dimensions other than this physical human aspect, when you've been physically walking around in those other areas, people don't have hair up there. People don't have bodies. They actually I just see light bodies. So I do healing and spiritual work as well. Everyone doesn't have parts. Like you don't even have names up there. Names are for tombstones. That's like the best saying ever. It's just like everyone's literally a light body. So when you've experienced that and then come back into this physical reality, everything else doesn't really matter anymore. And I didn't get that till maybe 4 years ago. So
I have when I was younger, when I was 6 or 7. My friend had this transgender sister that was 15 or 16, and when she was transitioning, she pretty much had she didn't change her personality. She was pretty much the same, and yeah, she was cool.
I think that people are just aware of it from an early age. Again, using myself as the guinea pig type of person. So I remember my first day at school at just over age of 4, and it was, interestingly, an all-boys school. And I do remember walking up to the door of the classroom and looking back at Mum feeling nervous. And yes, it could have been because it was the first day at school, but it's, if I can use a little bit of humour, it's a bit like, oh, I'm going to school with all these boys, yeah, what's that about? But you're aware of it. Gender is, unfortunately, shoved down our throat, and we're put into boxes. If I'd been at a government school and they'd have said something like, well, boys over there and girls over there, well, if you're thinking about it and you're not fitting, wow, that's going to be difficult. And nowadays, with more people being even true, also being true to themselves in terms of identifying as other than male or female, non-binary or no gender at all, which is up to 1/3 of young people in particular, how are they going to feel if they're told they have to be boys over there, girls over there? There's not even a group for them.
I think it's more or less people not understanding and being uncomfortable with the fact of a person being transgender. That's why there's such a negative view on it, and they seem to make jokes or just want to make fun of it, whether it's insecure for themselves or just something they just can't comprehend, so it's just the easy way out. That's most of the world, how it's seen, and probably what it was seen as racism and even homosexuality 50 years ago from now. So I guess it's only a matter of time before it progresses. Yeah.
I think in the past, because it wasn't that mainstream for a guy to be wearing makeup and having a dress on them. When they see them walking down the street, they'd be like, oh, okay, that's freaky. But now, it's all cleared up. They're all understanding of it, and they accept it more.
The world has a clouded view because most people don't know who they are. This is the thing. Most people will get to maybe 50 and have a midlife crisis after going into the life they think they should have and having the marriage or the babies or whatever it is, and they get to 50 and they have a midlife crisis. I don't call it a midlife crisis. I kind of call it oh fuck, I'm this old and I didn't actually question who the fuck am I before I got to this age. So I don't necessarily think the world has a clouded view just on transgender issues. I think the world has a clouded view on themselves, and I think everyone has to face themselves every day, but I guess artists more than other people wake up in the mirror every day and go, who the fuck am I? And then we get to strip it back with things like comedy characters and pulling parts of ourselves out, or writers get to do that and create our own worlds. But if you're someone who gets up and goes and works in finance every day, you might not necessarily have the friends around you or the artistic, creative expression to get that shit out of you. So you might just go by your whole life thinking you're just this, you know, I'm playing Michael. But you're like, no, you're fucking flamboyant Michael, but you never tried it. Like, and in terms of transgender, I just think there's no exposure. I think this is awesome. I think we just need to have conversations. Like, someone's going to watch this, they're going to talk about it at dinner. Then someone's going to have dinner with them and talk about it. And it literally starts with one tiny ass seed and goes from there.
I feel it has a lot to do with education and the amount of information exposed to children and people of the next generation. You know, if it's spoken about in different cultures that don't allow or almost feel as if it's, you know, breaking religious views or beliefs, it can definitely be a big test on the individual and could cause them to think negatively and result to committing suicide and stuff like that. So I definitely feel it's to do with education and the exposure of media, information, public role models, just to let people know. Like, think of Ellen from The Ellen Show. She's a definite female advocate.
It's areas like service provision where there isn't so much, or say, blatant anti-transgender prejudice, but people perhaps don't know how to do it in the best possible way. And so this is particularly often the case in, unfortunately, a very vitally needed area for trans and gender diverse people, being health and medical care. And we get, sure, answers when someone comes out and a doctor says, well, I don't know what to do. Well, it's not so much discrimination, but we have had, unfortunately, worse, where people do experience things like, oh, it's just a phase, or, you know, young people get, oh, you're too young to know about that, which is highly prejudicial both against trans but also against young people in general. And unfortunately, difficult as this is to talk about, there has been even worse for trans people and for similarly a group that is similar to us, intersex, where health professionals blatantly say, well, can I have a look? Referring to someone's genitals, which is a form of harassment. So that's a major area that needs addressing, and we do need more healthcare professionals. Social discrimination is unfortunately still high, and that includes, sadly, a physical assault rate of around 20 to 25%, which is 10 to 12 times that of the whole population.
I echo Alicitis. Being transgendered to me means you are not simply just either a man or a woman. You become something more, let's see, complex but yet simple. A male to female becomes not simply as a woman, but a woman among women, or a female to male becomes not simply a man, but a man among men. Feelings and emotion are even more than what a simple person's emotions are. You're more in tune with what's not only on the outside, but the inside as well. Simply put, you're no unique than the rarest creature. However, you're feared because you may not bring about the end. Well, that's it for me. Let me hear it from you.
So what do you take from this little insight from Echo?
It's interesting just to say that you're not simply just either a man or a woman. I guess they can sort of tap into both depending on what they're born as. But yeah, it's just the way that someone is putting it that is transgender. It's interesting. And yeah, like they become something more and more complex. I guess it is more in tune with what they are, maybe in a before process, like being born, like whether it be in the uterus or before that, before they actually became a physical form. It was sort of a cross between the line, like who knows, yeah. It's interesting.
Cool. Okay, this is a little excerpt from Susie MD. She says, being transgender is simple. Our brain is wired to want us to be a gender that doesn't match our body sex. How we experience it is complicated. For me, it was the feeling all my adult life that being a woman would be the most wonderful thing that could happen to me. It wasn't logical. It didn't come from any conscious thought. It was just there, and it was a powerful feeling. When I began transitioning, seeing myself as a female produced this amazing euphoric feeling. The idea of remaining male seemed intolerably dull. I never felt like a woman. I still don't. If you shook me awake and asked me my gender, I'd probably say I'm male. However, living as a woman is definitely right for me. I wouldn't go back for anything. Wow, okay. So the first thing I think is I should put some socks in my pants and walk around for a week and see how it feels. Because like you do that when you're a kid, yeah? Like you play. Like, you play, you know, mummy and daddy with all girls or all boys or doctor or whatever, and you do that stuff. When then you get to a certain age, you're like, oh, that's weird. I don't know why. It's just conditioning, TV, society, whatever that tells us that it's weird. From this, what do I take from this? I take that, yeah, so Susie says that they're a male gender, like they're born with a dick and whatever, but they want to live like a woman. So that doesn't even necessarily talk about sexuality. This is just, he feels more comfortable expressing himself as a woman. So put some earrings on and have a good time, Susie. Let's go on the D floor. Like, that's great. Like, awesome.
I used to hate myself and feel awful about myself. Over the past 2 years or so, since I got help to deal with my inability to accept myself and start HRT, hormone treatment, I have slowly awakened to the reality I am different, but that is okay. As I start to express more and more, I feel awkward and have fear, but I still proceed. As I inform others of what I'm going to do, I feel fear, but I plan and keep going. I look back on the things I do now that are my new normal, and I think how frightened I was doing it in the first few times. So what does it mean to me to be transgender? It means to me I need to fight for what? I need to hold on what I have earned. It means to enjoy the time I have accepting friends. I mean that although I am frightened at times, I will get through it. Small victories are savored. Acceptance as myself is valued very high.
How do you feel about that?
I feel like as that person used to hate him or herself, like, I used to hate myself when I was younger because I felt awkward being, like, gay in a Christian school. Like, if I came out, everyone would either, like, jump me or, like, write my names in the bathroom lockers. And it really frightened me, but as I grew older to understand myself, I didn't get so afraid anymore, and I was able to speak out for myself and come out to my friends as gay, and they still support me through everything. They don't, like, put me down or anything. They bring me up when I'm down, and they, like, help me so much, and I'm so blessed to have them. And I really think that this person is a really strong person to be able to fight for what's right, and this person really inspires me a lot.
By Tessa James. So I read that backwards. That's how ironic. Okay. It took a lifetime for me to accept being transgender, and now I wear it proudly. For me, it means I have a unique and special life history that includes thinking I was going to magically grow up to be a mum until puberty. Wow. After puberty, I reluctantly worked to somehow be the man expected of me and my anatomy. Like many, I overcompensated and tried the typical paths to manhood, including being a soldier and going to war. I didn't know there were options and had no language in the 50s and 60s for what was wrong with me and why I felt so alien in my own body. Being transgender means I experienced persistent and eventually debilitating dysphoria, I'm not sure what that means, until I addressed and accepted the truth and began transition. Now it also means being out and on a journey to authenticity and being my more true self. Wow, that's a beautiful piece. Like, it's straightforward, but it highlights all the issues and personal tests. And yeah, can really get an understanding of this person. You know, Tessa James says, it took a lifetime for me to accept being transgender. To open a story about herself, just highlighting, you know, it took a lifetime. You don't know how long that's measured in, so it could be very difficult at times, but triumphant, you know, once that person's proud of themselves enough to, you know, create some type of social awareness, you know, social upheaval towards people who are negative and their bad views on people like Tessa James. That was enough for me to have an understanding on that person and their personal challenges in life, you know, and knowing that you've been born in a certain anatomy, it's going to be clear that your body's going to have changes through the years, you know, every decade, every 7 to 10 years, depending on the body. I feel that I myself get very affected when I feel this absence from somebody because they can't be their true self and they have to be a certain way for society. So I'm really proud to be able to put myself in this person's shoes and, you know, get a better understanding. And I'm really proud of that person too.
I really do think like it's come from inside, because they want to see what's on the inside from outside, because a transgender female wants to like look like a female, not a male, in the mirror, because when they were younger they probably like look in the mirror and say, why am I not happy with myself? But I think looking at them now, they're happy with their physical appearance and they're matching their physical appearance with their emotional appearance, so I think that's good.
Do people start from within their soul before they transition? This is really intense, because I think there's yes and no. I believe some people can honestly have a shift within themselves or something life-altering within themselves that will change their perspective on life altogether. That literally they might be a guy one day and tomorrow they want to be a girl. Like I'm not like who I was yesterday. I'm not who I am in 5 minutes, because now is the only present moment. And I'll show you something really trippy, right? When I do this, it looks like I put my fingers up in succession, yeah? Like, oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't actually just go like that, but you see like that because it's separated by time. Isn't that freaking weird? So I think that, oh, wow, that's a really intense question. I think that some people, yeah, it would happen as they're growing. So maybe from 14 to 15, they go, actually, I want a vagina, or actually, I want a dick. That'll make me feel more comfortable. But it's not necessarily the parts. It's like how they feel within their soul of who they are. And I've had that since I was a kid. Like, I've been a tomboy forever. I've loved girls. I've loved guys. I'm gay now, but I wasn't gay now until I met my partner. Like, I'd been with women, but I still identified as both. Like, it's constantly changing. And I think it depends who you meet, what environments you're in, what you see, how you grow. And in terms of, I guess, soul evolution, I think some people come to Earth to be an example for others. So whether they've been through life 100 times before or whatnot, they've done life in a male body or they've done life in a female body, and then old mate upstairs in consciousness is like, hey, can you go back into Earth and we're just going to put you in the wrong one so you can kind of try and show people it doesn't really matter what's going on. Like Michael Jackson's like a sick example to do with race. Yeah, I guess I'm waffling, but it depends. I think some people have a soul purpose they know as soon as they're born, and there's some people that something will happen to them, or a car crash, or a second chance of life that will make them go, okay, all right, my soul, I'm actually going to ask it what it wants. I'm going to go inside, I'm going to meditate for 50 days. I'm not going to talk to anyone. I'm going to fuck off overseas. Like whatever people need to do to listen to themselves and shut up. Once they listen to that voice, then they can express it. I think a lot of people don't stop to listen. The first step is like, shut up. I had my 3 front teeth knocked out for me to listen to myself for the first time. I actually had to have it physically shut up. So until you listen, I don't think you can know your soul purpose.
Because it's real, like your neighbor could be someone, a family member. It's all around us, but people obviously choose to ignore it and they don't want to address it, and that could lead to suicide, depression for a number of people. So I guess it's just the fact of being familiar with it, so that when you come encounter with a person or someone decides they are coming out around you, you can be supportive and you can know as much there is about it, just like homosexuality, yeah.
Yes. Society needs to know about transgender identities. Society needs to know about identity, like full stop. Like I said, like no one really questions their own shit. And like we're easy to point a finger and judge at the person with green hair on the tram, or does that person have an Adam's apple, or is there a vagina under those pants? Like everyone's easy to judge, but that's because like, hi, this finger's at you, there's 4 back at me. So no one wants to look at themselves. So I think having conversations like this is the first step to opening more doors to more conversations. And transgender is a big one because not only does it open people up to talk about their own expression or who they think they are or why they identify with a gender or a sex or a feeling, it also opens up the bigger conversation to humanity, earth, reincarnation, soul, healing, why we're here and why we get put in these different situations.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching my video. I really appreciate their understanding and the support and the curiosity that you might have with transgender identity. Transgender identity is something that I've always been passionate about advocating and wanting people to understand how the soul works in a body that doesn't belong to them. And so I guess the best way is to just have conversations about this topic, or have conversations about identity, have conversations about yourself and why you express yourself in this specific way. People learn and people grow by just understanding and acceptance. And I think that's something that society needs to understand more, is just acceptance of expression and being yourself. So if you're already at that point, I'm so happy for you. Thank you so much again.